The following is a class on the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 16th chapter, text number 20, given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded on January 16th, 1974, in Hawaii.
Translation. I have lost my 3 legs, and am now standing on one only. Are you lamenting for my state of existence? Or are you in great anxiety because henceforward the unlawful meat-eaters will exploit you? Or are you in a sorry plight because the demigods are now bereft of their share of sacrificial offerings, because no sacrifices are being performed at present? Or are you grieving for living beings because of their sufferings due to famine and drought?
Read the part. Long part.
With the progress of the age of Kali, 4 things particularly, namely the duration of life, mercy, the power of recollection, and moral or religious principles, will gradually diminish. Since Dharma, or the principles of religion, would be lost in the proportion of 3 out of 4, the symbolic bull was standing on one leg only. When 3/4 of the population of the whole world become irreligious, the situation is converted into hell for the animals. In the age of Kali, godless civilizations will create so many so-called religious societies in which the personality of Godhead will be directly or indirectly defied. And thus faithless societies of man will make the world uninhabitable for the saner section of people. There are gradations of human beings in terms of proportionate faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The first class faithful men are the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas, then the Kshatriyas, then the Vaishyas, then the Shudras, then the Mlecchas, the Yavanas, and at last the Chandalas. The degradation of the human instinct begins from the Mlecchas.
Chandalas means the dog eaters. In the human society, the division of higher class and lower class is determined by the standard of eating. So, first class men, just like Brahman Vaishnava, they eat very purified prasadam. Their responsibility is practically does not depend on them, because Vaishnava, Brahmana also, without becoming a Brahmana, nobody can become Vaishnava. So when we speak of Vaishnava, it is to be supposed that he is already Brahman. Therefore, to bring the neophyte devotees to the perfectional stage, we offer the Brahmana separate thread. But if people, after promising everything and break their promise, that is very abominable. When they are initiated before the deity, before the Lord, before the fire, they should not break it. That is most sinful if you break your promise. Otherwise, you should not be coming forward for initiation if you cannot keep your promise. So, the first class, second class, third class, fourth class men are considered according to the guna and karma, quality and work. That is described in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Chaturparnang maya system, guna karma vibhagas. That is the system. Not by force one can become first class. According to the Shastra, who is first class, who is second class, who is third class, who is fourth class, who is fifth class, that is to be understood. Guna karma vibhagas. So, when one becomes above the gunas by devotional service, guna means quality. A devotee is on the position of first class human society because a devotee is engaged in devotional service. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Manja Bhavicharini Bhakti Yogena Jasevate Sagunan Samatitta Etan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalvati. Anyone who is engaged 100% without any motive in the devotional service of the Lord, Manja Bhavicharini Bhakti Yogena, Bhakti Yogena, Abhavicharini, without any adulteration. Such person, Manchabhya Vicharini Bhakti Yogena Jaseva. So guna, guna means these material qualities, goodness, passion and ignorance. These are gunas. So gunan samatitta, sammak atita, fully transcendental, fully surpassed. Brahma Bhuya Kalpa. Then that is the stage of self-realization. So if one is not even on the stage of self-realization, how he can teach others? That is cheating. That is cheating. If one is not a graduate, if he becomes a teacher, he is not a teacher, he is a cheater. One must be, first of all, qualified. That qualification means one must be above the three qualities of material nature. Goodness, even you have to go beyond the quality of goodness. In the material world, we have made, concocted. This is good, this is bad. So even taking it, actually everything in the material world is bad. Anything. It is simply mental concoction. We are creating, this is good, this is bad. So long one is in the material world, everything is bad. Even the so-called religious practice, that is also bad in the material world. So therefore Bhagavad Gita says, Sagunan samatitta etan, one has to transcend even the quality of goodness, the so-called goodness. Actually there is no goodness. Because here people dress like in the platform of goodness, but thinking just like animals. That kind of goodness has no value. Actually goodness. That goodness is Sagunan samatitta etana brahma bhuyaya kalvati. When one transcends the qualities of material nature above the Brahman quality. Brahman quality is, suppose actually, in comparison to other qualities, that is the first class quality, sattva, sama, dhamma, titikha, arjava, jnanam, vijnanam, astikam, brahmakarma, sabhavajam. When one is situated in these qualities, truthfulness, sattva, samam, controlling the senses, dhamma, controlling the mind, sama, dhamma, titikha, tolerant, in spite of all tribulation, tolerant, sama, dhamma, titikha, shaucham, cleanliness, then jnanam, full knowledge. Full knowledge means what I am, what is God, what is this material world, what is our relationship. That is called knowledge. And that knowledge, when practically applied in life, that is called vijnana. Vijnanam, vijnanam. Astikam. Astikam, full faith in the Shastras and in God. That is called astikam. If you have full faith in the revealed scriptures, then you are astik. Because you cannot manufacture your God, so-called incarnation God. No. You must have full knowledge of God through the authority of revealed scriptures. That is God consciousness. If you give up the injunction of the scripture, revealed scripture, you consider something as God, that is not God. Or you consider something as religion, that is not religion. Jasastra vidhi mussujya bhattate kamokchada. No siddhing savabnati. If you become above abhorrent to the injunction of the Shastras, then na sukham sa avapnati, he never get happiness. Na sukham dasasa vidhimasthita bhaktati kamacharata. Na siddhim sa avapnati. There is no question of siddhi, perfection. Neither there is question of happiness. No sukham, no paranga. Then what to speak of going back to home, back to God? It is useless. Therefore we must abide by the sadhu, shastra, guru. What is this sound is going on? You can ask somebody to stop. Sadhu means saintly person. Shastra means the Vedic Scriptures. Sadhu, Shastra and Guru, spiritual master. So we must follow the footprints of saintly person. Mahajana jena gatasya pantha. That is the way. We have to follow great superior personality, just like Srila Goswami. Narottam Das Thakur says, Ei chai gosai jar taramui das. I become servant or disciple of such a person who follows the footprints of the 6 Goswamis. Otherwise, one becomes guru, anyone, just like nowadays they are manufacturing guru. Guru is not manufactured. Guru is in the disciplic succession. One who strictly follows the footsteps of the Srila Goswami. Eichaya Gosai Ja. Anyone who is following the footsteps of the Goswami. Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is Upadeshamrita, instruction. Vacha Vegam, Krodha Vegam, Udara Vegam, Upastha Vegam, Jivha Vegam, Mano Vegam, Etan Veganaja Vishayata Dhira, Pridhivingsa Sishyat. This is the injunction given by Rupa Goswami. Vacha Vegam. Vacha Vegam means the force of talking. Begam, what is the meaning? Begam? Urge, yes. Just like I'm talking some nonsense, that is Vacha Begam. It has no value. We should speak something which has value, one who can control. It is better not to talk than to talk foolish. So that is the word. All foolish talking or foolish literature, it has no value. So it has to be controlled. That is called controlling the Vacha Begam. Krodha Begam. Krodha means anger. So it has also was urge. Suppose I am insulted by somebody. Naturally I will be angry. But if I can control, all right, he is a foolish, he is done. Why shall I lose my temper? That is called controlling Krodha Begam. Vacha Begam, Krodha Begam, Manasa Begam, mind. It has got so many urges. Mind is driving practically. Let us go there, let us go there, let us do this, let us... Never mind, sinful or pious, mind is always dictating and rejecting. So Vacha Begam, Krodha Begam, Manasa Begam, Krodha Begam, Udara Begam. Udara Begam is the urge of the belly. I shall eat this, I shall eat that, I shall eat that. Why? Simply you shall eat Bhagavat Prasada. Prasada is Sarva Dukkhana. Then Udara Begam and Upastha Begam, the urge of the genital. That is the most important. The Jivha Begam, Udara Begam, that is genital, the straight line. See, if one can control the urge of these 3 things, Taramadhya Jivbhavati Lobhamaya Sudurmati. Bhaktivedanta Thakur says that out of the urges of the tongue and other senses, down to the genital, there are many urges. Urge of the mind, urge of the anger, urge of the talking, urge of the tongue, their belly, then genital. In this way, we are driven by so many urges. So out of that, the strongest enemy is our tongue. Is our tongue. Jivha Begam. If one can control the urges of the tongue, then he will be naturally able to stop the urges of the belly and the urges of the genital. 3 stage life. But these have to be practiced. Etana vigana javishayeto dhira. One who has become successful in controlling the urges of all these things, Prithiving Sasisha, now he is free to make disciples all over the world. And then not that I cannot control even my tongue, I cannot control my genital, and I become spiritual master. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. You learn first of all. Try to control. Become first class controller. Dhira. That's called dhira, not disturbed by any urges. Idang viganaja vishayata dhira. Dhiras tattva namayati. This word is used, dhira. Dhira means very sober, fully controlled. That is called dhira. Dhiras tattva namayati. Unless you become dhira, you cannot understand what is spiritual life. That is not possible. Therefore Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Tatha dehantara prapti dhiras tattva namayati. Dhiras tattva namayati. So, you cannot understand even unless you become a dhira. You cannot understand what is spiritual life, what is spirit. It is not a bogus thing that I manufacture something, conquer something, and do something, and I become a leader, I become a spiritual master. It's all nonsense. Dhiras tattva. The word is dhira, and dhira is explained in the Kumar Sambhav. Dhira, just like Lord Shiva lost his wife. She committed suicide before her father. That's a Dukkha Yagga, who has learned about Dukkha Yagga. So, Lord Shiva was performing yoga practice, meditation, and in the meantime, his wife, Devi, she took birth as daughter of Himalayan, king of Himalayan, Parvati. So, there was fight between the demigods and the demons. So, there was a plan that if by the seminar of Lord Shiva, one son is born, Kartikeya, then he will be able to kill these demons. Otherwise it is very difficult. So Lord Shiva was engaged in meditation after the death of his wife. In the meantime, his wife took birth in the Himalaya. So now he has to be induced to unite with this Parvati. So there was plan made. The plan made that Parvati, young age, beautiful girl, and Lord Shiva is meditating naked, and he was offering worshipable flowers on the genital. Still, he was not disturbed. Young girl touching the genital of a person, but he is not disturbed. And that is dhira. That is the example of perfection of dhira. Even in the presence of being agitated, one who is not agitated, that is called dhira. Otherwise everyone becomes agitated. That is natural. Young boy sees another young man, or young man sees another young girl. Natural. Sex appetite. Natural. But one who can control that, that is dhira. That is dhira. Dhiras tattva namayati. That is yoga practice. That is yoga practice. Control. When there will be need, I shall use it. Just like Kardamani. Kardamani was given the best beautiful daughter of King Manu. So, she was simply serving, not that immediately coming and sexually inclined. So, Kardamani saw that this girl came to me and I have accepted her as my wife, but she is engaged fully, although she is the prince, the daughter of king, very great king. But I am not giving her any comfort. She has become lean and thin, skinny, but engaged. So, he promised that I am accepting your daughter, but as soon as she will have some children, then I will leave her. On this condition I can accept your daughter. The father came with the daughter, that my daughter has selected you as the proper husband, please accept. So he accepted, but he made this condition that as soon as your daughter will have some children, then I will leave home. That was accepted. So these are the examples how to become dhiro. It is not spiritual consciousness, it is not so easy thing that you can go. But by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is being easily distributed. That is the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if we misuse it, even this facility, do not know what is the aim of life, then we are missing the opportunity. So, continue.
The degradation of the human instinct begins from the mlechas, and the Chandala state of life is the last word in human degradation. All the above terms mentioned in the Vedic literatures.
This is first class life. Sattva samadhamatitikka arjava jnanam vijnanam asikam brahma karma sabhava. And the lowest class of life, practically nowadays all lowest class of life, the life of a chandal, dog eaters. So, this is the description in the Shastra. Go on.
All the above terms mentioned in the Vedic literatures are never meant for any particular community or birth.
It is not that because one has taken birth in the lowest class family, some chandala, dog eaters, it does not mean that he will have to remain in that position. Just like uneducated person. It is not that he will have to remain in that uneducated standard. No, he can become educated. He can become educated. That is Krishna consciousness movement. There is no check on any particular person, community to become God consciousness. God himself says, Krishna says, Mang hi pato vipasritya jepisu papajunoyo. Papajuni, to take birth in lower class of human society, is called papajuni. But Krishna says, never mind, papajuni. Mangi partha vipasritya jepisu papajuna. Striya vaishya satha sudra stepi janti parangati. Formerly in the Vedic civilization, even Ovid and Shudra and Vaishya, they are also considered amongst the papajuni. What to speak of others? But Krishna says, never mind. What about papajuni? One may be. Mangi partha vipasritya. If one takes shelter of my devotee, vipassit, and works under his direction, then that is called vipassita. Vishesha rupena asritya. Then he also, depi janti parangati. They can also go back to home, back to home. There is no bar, but one has to purify himself by the purificatory process. That is called sanskar. Sanskarat bhavet dvija. By purificatory process, one becomes purified. And purified means no more sinful life. That is purification. Jesham antagatam papam. One who is fully free from sinful activities. Jesham antagatam papam. Jananang punna karmanam. Te dandamaho nirmukta bhajanti mahang diribrata. So Krishna bhajan is not very difficult. Simply we have to follow the four principles of sinful life. No illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, no meeting. In chant Hare